Zimbabwe is a country with a high youth unemployment rate, which is over 60% of young people under 35 years are currently unemployed. But when it comes to marginalized youth, the job search isn't just a struggle, but a daily battle against corruption. Bribery in the hiring process means that qualified young applicants from disadvantaged background, especially in marginalized areas like Cholocho, often get passed over in favor of the well-connected, hence crushing their dreams and aspirations. Greetings everyone and welcome to our podcast. My name is Princess Ndlovu, where in our podcast today we are navigating corruption in the employment sector. I want to look at how it affects young women in the marginalized areas. Sikhangele kakhulu endaweni yaseCholocho. So namhlanje ngilo young women lapha oseCholocho, uCaroline Nyathi engilaye esaxoxisana esichazela ukuthi yena icorruption im-affecte njani ngesikhathi edinga umsebenzi. Useke wadinga umsebenzi endaweni eziningi echayisana lokuthi umsebenzi kawutholi ngendlela eyiyo ngenxa yecorruption. So namhlanje uzasichazela ke yena uCaroline ku-podcast yethu ukuthi sizwe i-story sakhe ukuthi sona sikhamba njani. Siyakwamukela Caroline ku-podcast yethu yanamhlanje. Ngicela ukubuza Caroline ukuthi wena ekudingeni kwakho umsebenzi njengoba usudinga umsebenzi kangaka ngendlela eziningi. Ngicela ukubuza ukuthi usuke wachayisana yini le any form of corruption lapha ngesikhathi udinga umsebenzi?
Mina corruption sengeke ngahlangana layo kaningi ngoba isikhathi esiningi avele umsebenzi ngisengudinga amathuba amaningi kakhulu kodwa ngisehluleke ukuthi ngingene umsebenzi. Kusehlula ngezinye indlela ezitshiyeneyo nje.
Okay. So, Kero, ngicela ke ungichazele ukuthi i-corruption njengoba usithi khona na iku-affecta kanjalo ngesikhathi udinga umsebenzi. Isiphi ke yiphi indlela oke wahlangana layo ekwenza ukuthi i-corruption ekwenza ukuthi umsebenzi ungawutholi?
Enhlangane lapho mina ekudingeni kwami umsebenzi. Ukuthi lapho engadinga khona umsebenzi ngathi ngifika ngatshelwa ukuthi kufunakala imali. So wakhanga ukuthi imali le mina yayidingakala lapho ngaleso sikhathi ngayingalayo. Njengomuntu ohlezi edinga umsebenzi lesidingo zemali kuhamba ndawonye. So angaze ngisebenze. So leyo mali vele ngangingalayo and ngangeke ngithole futhi masinyane. Ukuthi kumbe ngangingabambisa ngidayinza ubuya ngelangele ngaka. Ngehluleka ngaleyo ndlela.
Kodwa ma ukhangele Kero bakhona yini abanye ababekwanisa ukuthi bekhiphe izimali khona lapho ngesikhathi imali idinga umsebenzi abakwanisa ukuthola umsebenzi imali khona?
Bakhona sibili. Nginje mina ngilomngane wami sibe sasikhambe sonke. Yena wafika wangena ngenxa ukuthi leyo mali wayelayo. Ngase ngicabanga mina ukuthi mhlawumbe nguyena wayele information wayesuke evele njani ekwazi ukuthi ngale kuhanjwa le mali wahle wavela wahlanganisa wayithola. Ngomunye nje layo ukuthi kwesinye isikhathi umsebenzi yake bambe kwezinye indawo. So indlela zokuthola imali uyabe elazo. Mina ngehluleka ukuthi vele imali mina empilweni yami angaze ngibe layo ngisayidinga.
So understand ukuthi kuyabe kunzima kakhulu ngoba uthi imali yabo ngelayo. So lokho kuyinto kube i-disadvantage ngaliphi indlela kuwe ukuthi sometimes uma usiyafuna umsebenzi bethi befuna imali wena utholakala ukuthi imali yakhona awulayo. As a young women kube i-disadvantage ngaliphi indlela kuwe?
Kimi kube i-disadvantage ngoba nxa kuthiwa imali phambili vele kuyabe kunzima. Kunje kathesi iminyaka la yabe ingasavumi ukuthi ngingathi kathesi ukuthi ngizame laphana nhlanganise ngizuza imali ngibe ngizongena ngapha. Amathuba omsebenzi asangivumeli ngeminyaka esengikiyo. Ngoba eminye imisebenzi yabe sithi ungakwanisa 30 years so awusangena umsebenzi.
Okay, so kuyabe kuyi-disadvantage ngoba sometimes uthola ukuthi iminyaka yabe ihamba. For example, nursing vele ifuna abantu i-general nursing ifuna ukuthi vele not above 30 years. Kuyawumela ukuthi at least umsebenzi uthole below 30. Ungafikisi 30 over so kumele ukuthi kuwe ungasa-apply udinge okunye. Of which okunye kwakhona lakho futhi uma ukuzama ngithi kuyabe sokunzima.
Khona ukuswela kwami umsebenzi lokho sokuze kwangifaka kwesinye isigaba esinzima. Ngoba sengize ngakhetha ukuthi ngiye kwenda. Ngoba la nxa uhlezi phakathi kwekhaya abadala labazi bekhuluma lokho lalokhuyana. Awuyendi, awudingi umsebenzi, awusebenzi. Ngeke sikwanise thina ukusupport umuntu okhulileyo. Labantwana sengize ngilabantwana ababili. Konke lokho kungenze ngafika esigabeni ebengazimiselanga kiso ngoba isigaba somendo aso sigaba esilula empilweni.
Ayikhona kunjalo ngiya-understand Kero ukuthi la khona ekhaya kuyabe sokule pressure of which lama ufuna umsebenzi wakho asikuthi yabo usithandele ukungawutholi. kuyabe kuyikuthi khokhani ukuthi kumele udize kumbe ube lesihlobo saziyo of which ma ungekho khona lokho vele especially emakhaya lapha eChotho kunzima ukuthi ungaze uyethola umuntu oku high position ongakufaka emsebenzini ngendlela okwenzakala ngakhona. So kuyabe kuyi challenge. I understand futhi ukuthi ukuswela i-corruption le iya affect kakhulu i-gender equality. Amathuba okulingana nje kulingana kwamathuba lapha emsebenzini so kunzima kakhulu. So wena ngendlela obona ngayo ubona ngathi ku-affecta njani i-gender equality corruption le emsebenzini?
Thina njengabomama kuyase-affecta kakhulu, le corruption is-affecte kakhulu ngoba kunje emsebenzini vele thina mama siyancindezelwa kakhulu ngoba amathuba ukuthi imisebenzi siyuthole vele kasiyitholi. So kusincindezele kakhulu lokho. Obaba yibo isikhathi esiningi abatholakalayo besemsebenzini. Njalo kulula kibo ukuthi bewuthole leyo msebenzi. Angazi kuyabe kuhamba njani. Kusincindezele kakhulu and kusi-affectile, kusilimazele impilo zethu kakhulu.
Okay. Ayazwakala Kero ngokuthi ngendlela oyichaza ngakhona. So it means ukuthi vele i-corruption is a disadvantage kakhulu kini as young women especially emakhaya lapha eChotho ngoba ikhangela ukuthi i-connection yakho na vele ayikho kunzima kakhulu ukuthi izeyithola ukuthi khona kuyabe kudingakala ukuthi lize liyazana labantu ukuze lingene kuma position be it political, social or whatever kuyabe kunzima ukuthi lani lizibone li-participator as abomama. So siyabonga ama contributions akho sis Kero ngokuba layo ku podcast ukuthi usichazele kabanzi ngokuthi wena iku-affecta njani ukusichazela istory sakho ukuthi ku-affecta njani i-corruption ngesikhathi udinga umsebenzi lapha. Okay, asamkeleni ke manje ngilenye participant here lapha engizafuna ukuthi ngibuze khona. Ngicela ukubuza ukuthi iwaphi zikhona yini ezinye izindlela ezingayenziwa ukupromote i-transparency le kuma recruitment processes?
My name is Lista Chada and I'm a labor officer. And as a labor officer, my job is to enforce the labor laws that we have in Zimbabwe and also to provide guidance to different organizations on employment issues, on labor issues. That includes employment contracts, employee benefits, disciplinary procedures. And I'm an HR specialist because in line with my job is to help organizations to make HR decisions that align with the labor laws that we have as a country. Let me start by saying corruption is a very serious problem that has affected a lot of countries across the globe. And African countries have mostly been affected by corruption. Most African countries are characterized by high levels of unemployment, lack of access to basic education, lack of access to basic health services, and all that is because of corruption. And Zimbabwe as a country has actually affirmed that corruption is indeed a very serious problem that needs to be tackled. And that is the reason why they have ratified a number of global anti-corruption instruments to try and eliminate corruption. And the irony of the situation is that most of the people that are affected by corruption are people that come from disadvantaged communities or people that come from marginalized areas. And when you look closely in the employment sector as well, corruption is there. From a human resources perspective, corruption starts from the recruitment processes, going down to the remuneration processes, going down to the trainings. You know, those trainings that are done within the organization, corruption is there. And it is important to try and eliminate this problem that is affecting communities, that is affecting societies in the country.
Okay, if you say so. Ngicela ukubuza ukuthi how can young women hold employers abo kumbe institutions accountable for engaging kuma corrupt practices lawo?
One of the ways to eliminate corruption in the employment sector is to promote transparency in the recruitment processes. And how can this be done? Number one, I think as a country, we should have a legal framework for recruitment processes. It could be a legal framework that cuts across all sectors in the country, or it could be different legal frameworks that are specific to sectors that we have as a country. And in order to implement that legal framework, it might be necessary to have a recruitment board or a recruitment committee that actually oversees the implementation of this particular legal framework. So it could be a board that cuts across all sectors, or it could be a board that is only specific to a sector. And this recruitment board may be responsible for also setting standards for recruitment processes and to ensure that companies are complying with these standards. And failure to comply would actually attract a penalty. By so doing, I think corrupt systems in the recruitment process may be eliminated. Number 2, this board should also put in place standardized application processes. For example, the use of standardized application forms that require applicants to fill out their qualifications and maybe experience and contact details without really including their personal details. I think this in a way minimizes bias and eliminates any corruption acts in the recruitment process. A clear selection criteria should also be communicated to the applicants, including the timelines. I believe this in a way promotes openness and fairness and accountability in the
ngiyakuzwa madam, but ngicela ukubuza ukuthi zikhona yini lokhu indlela kumbe singathi ngama-channels wokuripota i-corruption lapha emsebenzini, and how effective are they uku-addressa ama-issues anjengawona lawo?
I would like to believe that everyone in the society has a mandate to look out for institutions that are corrupt and expose them if possible. This also includes women, young women. They should be in the forefront in holding institutions accountable for engaging in corrupt practices. I understand young women suffer from cultural disempowerment, and this actually makes them more vulnerable to corrupt practices, and as such, this should motivate them to stand up and fight these corrupt practices that affect them. Number 1, young women should stay informed about anti-corruption policies, procedures, laws, so that they know how to tackle issues of corruption. The best way to fight something is to stay informed about it. Even in a war situation, the only way that you can conquer your enemy is through knowledge of what they are planning, how they are planning to attack you. And the same applies in holding institutions accountable for engaging in corrupt practices. You have to understand how corruption works. You have to understand the systems that enable it. If you do that, then it will be easier for you as a young woman to fight corruption and to hold institutions accountable for engaging in corrupt practices. Secondly, Young women should speak out when they see or experience corruption in institutions. Corrupt incidents should be reported to the relevant authorities and whistleblowing platforms as soon as possible.
Okay. Thank you very much, madam, for your contributions. I think what I picked there, what I liked the most, ongi-motivate-ileyo ukuthi indlela enye esingadlama ukuthi sidile ngayo nje ukusolve these corrupt practices ukuthi nje to refuse ukuparticipate kuma-corrupt practices layo. We say zero tolerance to corruption. I think masingabambana sonke, if we stand together, we can try to eliminate this. So ngiyabonga kakhulu ama-contributions akho obalawo ukuthi usitshele ukuthi wena, what do you think ukuthi yini esingakwenza to try and solve this. Even kubalaleli bethu silabo namhlanje ku podcast yethu namhlanje the girls table, if you have any comment ongayisho ukuthi khona how can we try, if you want to add on, you can say so, you can pass it on ku comment section yethu uthi ukuthi wena what do you think kungayenziwa just to solve this. So siyabonga kakhulu kuma contributions elibe lawo namhlanje ku podcast yethu namhlanje. Kubalaleli bethu siyabonga kakhulu kuba lani ku podcast yethu namhlanje the girls table okhulumayo nguPrincess Ndlovu. Siyabonga. It's a goodbye for now. I'm saying good day.
This project was made possible through a partnership between USAID Zimbabwe and ZimCord. The podcast is made possible by the generous support of the American people through United States Agency for International Development Zimbabwe. The contents are the responsibility of the Girls Table and do not necessarily reflect the views of USAID or the United States government.